in session. Chief Judge Corey Sickler presiding. All persons having business before this court, draw near, give attention, and you will be heard. Please remain standing for the national anthem, the Pledge of Allegiance, and the invocation.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Good morning. I've heard it said that if you build it, they'll come. Please join me in the invocation, if you will. Eternal God, we thank you for this glorious day, and we thank you for all of those who are present with us this morning. Lord, as we stand here today at this groundbreaking ceremony, we ask that you lay your gracious hand upon this undertaking. We ask that you bless those whose vision has brought us to this moment, those who gave form to the void, who labored tirelessly to obtain the necessary legislative approvals and financing and licensing. Almighty God, we ask that you bless this ground that gives of itself to support this structure. May this building live lightly on this earth, using resources sparingly and respectfully. God, we ask that you bless those workers who will construct this building. May no hurt, harm, or danger befall any one of them. May the jobs created by this project sustain families who call this community their home. Bless those who will work in this special building dedicated to justice, mercy, and the rule of law. May they be given wisdom, strength, and patience to perform their duties. And lastly, bless all who may cross the threshold of this building looking for simple fairness and impartiality. May this truly be the place where the wounded fly for justice and find it here. To the glory of the grand architect of the universe, amen. Amen. You may be seated.
First, if we could, let's thank these talented performers from the Treasure Coast Symphony Orchestra for their wonderful heartfelt gusto. And speaking of heartfelt gusto to West Palm's finest, thank you for letting us borrow the West Palm Beach Police Color Guard as they once again remind us, as if we needed reminding, how proud we are to be Americans. We know that it is late in May, and this is Southeast Florida, and even though it's a little early, it could get a little warm and humid. So we insist that you make yourself comfortable, and if you want to take off your jacket, by all means do that. I'm thinking Henry Flagler's looking down and saying, "Stop whining about South Florida, because you're in paradise," and isn't that the truth? Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this historically significant event. I'm Corey Sicklin. I am the current 4th District Court of Appeal Chief Judge. You know, we are so accustomed to the standard phrases of a speaker in a situation similar to the one that we're in this morning, in which we find ourselves. I'm honored to be here, it said. I'm humbled to be speaking to you this morning, or it is indeed a pleasure to be standing before you today. You know how those go. But make no mistake, I think all of us really do understand the tremendous historical privilege we enjoy this morning by bearing witness to this magic moment in the history of the state of Florida, the history of the 6 counties within the 4th District Court of Appeal, and of course the proud history of our home for the last 46 years, Palm Beach County and the city of West Palm Beach. All of us here today in this group assembled, and those watching through the methods of miraculous modern technology, are cognizant of just how important this event will become in our living history. A special good morning to our loyal staff who is watching these proceedings via wireless Skype back at the office. And so whether live or by a wireless iPad, we all get to be here this morning for this historic event. And as I was thinking about this, I'm thinking, is this just dumb luck for all of us? Are we really just by happenstance in the right place at the right moment? Are we just accidental beneficiaries of being in this profound moment in history? Now, my devout wife of 28 years, who is here today with us, would tell you there is nothing within the parameters of luck about any of this. She calls this type of momentous occasion as being something along the lines of divine alignment. And the fact is, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. So here we get to be this morning watching Florida judicial history in the making. As one of the first items of business at our new courthouse ribbon cutting ceremony in about 18 months, give or take, will be the placement of a time capsule on this very site. And under court order, I guess it's going to be our court order, we are going to instruct that this capsule be opened on the 100th anniversary of the 4th, 50 years from now in 2066. Now, many of you joined us for our 50th anniversary at the Crowther Center this past November. So, what will these folks find when they unearth this particular treasure trove? They're going to find, our fellow Floridians who open this treasure trove of history will learn that our court originally began in Vero Beach and served there from 1965 until 1970. They will learn that we moved to a little red brick building on Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard across the street from the West Palm Beach Auditorium that used to be called the Leaky Teepee. They will see building sketches and memos that discuss the pivotally important wisdom of the Florida legislature and the grace of Florida's taxpayers when the decision was made to abandon and then sell for a very nice taxpayer profit a valuable real estate piece of land upon which sat a mold-infested and unsafe building. And then, that's coming down. But then also, the bold move to this valuable, important, urban transit gateway to our city. Historians will know that immediate past Chief Judge Dorian DeMorgan spearheaded this game-changing project. And of course, every fine orchestra has the maestro. Every epic movie has the director. And my guess is that there is not a person sitting here today who doesn't know our maestro, our director, Jonathan Gerber. Judge Gerber has doggedly made this project happen. His persistence and effort, his raw but diplomatic, if you know John, he's always diplomatic, his diplomatic but raw display of tenacity, and his strength of purpose are, quite frankly, the stuff of which textbooks are written. And when this textbook or non-fiction historical novel is written, there are many of you in this audience today whose name will be alphabetically listed in the index. And there are some of you, such as statesman and incoming Senate President Joe Negron, who will probably get your own chapter. And it will be recorded that on this day in the history of our court, we had 136 years of cumulative judicial experience sitting at our 4th DCA bench. You know, appellate courts are noted for what some would view as an archaic acknowledgement of the notion and practice of judicial seniority. But let me tell you in no uncertain terms that there is nothing archaic about judicial experience and learning from those judges who walked in the hall before we did. There is nothing old-fashioned about serious discernment made possible by our judicial forebears who taught us about the sheer power and need to have judicial temperament, judicial integrity, judicial wisdom, and the fundamental virtue of judicial independence. In 9 seconds or less, let me show you how this 136 years of practical knowledge manifests itself at our court. If you would, look at the back of your program, and if you'll follow along with me here, our judges are listed, and this is how this experience breaks down on our court. Martha Warner on this court for 28 years. Stevenson, 22 years. Gross, 21. Taylor, 18. May, 14. DeMorgan, 8. Sickland, 7.5. Berber, 7. Levine, 7. Connor, 5. Forst, 3 years. Klingensmith, 3 years. Those who crack open the 100th anniversary time capsule, most of whom are not even probably born yet, will, I predict, be basking in our preciously devout system of democracy made possible and reinforced every day by way of a sacrosanct, equal, and independent judiciary. In this hermetically sealed time capsule, we will have this written program of this morning's activities. We will have a guest list, which includes the names of each one of you here today. We'll have artifacts from our times here in May of the year 2016, and we will have a digital disc of these proceedings. Just like so many of us now smile with amusement when we think about dial phones and telephone operators and the requirement of landlines, those who are watching this recording in 2066 are going to giggle when they hear that we actually had to use a device called an iPad, which was capable of transmitting a less than high definition image, and only possible because we were fortunate to be within a defined cell zone. And yes, we actually had to have something called a cell phone tower for these thick, heavy devices called cell phones to even work. So as I conclude my remarks in this last 1 minute, let me look directly into the iPad, both transmitting and recording these proceedings, and talk to our fellow Floridians who are watching in 2066. First, congratulations on figuring out how to play and view that silver-like disc, that object that we call a DVD in 2016. We assume that the picture that you are looking at is not very clear, at least compared to the technological capabilities that exist in your time in 2066. But we're pretty sure, though, nonetheless, you have figured it out and that you can at least hear our voices, even if you have a blurry picture. Floridians of the future, please look at the program that we placed in this time capsule and where you found this DVD. Please look at the list that we have included in this buried cylinder that gives the name of every person who is here today at this dramatic and historic event on this beautiful sunny South Florida day on Thursday, May 26, 2016. And most importantly, please look at the artifacts that we have included in this historic time capsule. And please know how honored and humbled we are to be your Florida forebears in what is now and will continue to be, when you are viewing this recording, the greatest country on this planet that we call Earth. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for being here today. And that's really the theme of today's ceremony, is thank you. Today is the culmination of a partnership, a demonstration of the cooperation and partnerships that exist at all levels of government. A partnership between the judicial branch, the executive branch, and the legislative branch. A partnership between state government, county government, and city government. And another partnership between the public sector and the private sector. So we thank all of you for those partnerships which have finally brought us here today. We first would like to introduce you to the construction team, our construction team, who will bring this vision into reality. The project manager is the State of Florida's Department of Management Services, represented today by Regional Director Dan Eberhardt. The architects who have designed this magnificent courthouse that you see on the display behind you, and that will in 18 months be facing out on Tamarind Avenue as a gateway to welcome people to downtown West Palm Beach. Those architects are KBJ Architects in Jacksonville, and they are here today represented by lead architect Tom Rensing and senior architect Ted Sofke. The general contractor providing their expertise is the White's Company, based here in West Palm Beach. White's' representatives in the first row are Gary Hennings and Steve Provines. We've got about another dozen or so White's employees in the audience. If all of the White's employees could please stand and be recognized. And thank you also to White's for providing this morning's breakfast. We appreciate that very much. Our fantastic urban planners also are our new neighbors, just down the street, 2 blocks away on Clematis, at Urban Design Kilday Studios. Please let me introduce to you Ken Tuma and Joni Brinkman. And finally, our real estate experts who identified this site and provided valuable consulting advice and assistance along the way, Neil Marin and Shelby Quinn. We'd like to now turn our attention to our keynote speakers. The first approval that we needed for this project was from our Florida Supreme Court, and their support was unanimous. And we are fortunate since that time to have continued to enjoy the court's full support, as well as the resources of the Office of the State Courts Administrator. We are fortunate to have with us here today from Tallahassee, State Courts Administrator P.K. Jamison, and two of who we are proud to call our own, Supreme Court Justice Barbara Pariente, and our first keynote speaker, the Chief Justice of the Florida Supreme Court, George Labarga.
Judge Gerber told me this morning that I get to have one of these shovels as long as I don't speak over 3 minutes. As you can see, Judge Sicklin has already forfeited his. Last year, we celebrated the 50th anniversary of the establishment of the 4th District Court of Appeals. I cannot think of a better way to honor the legacy and history of this great institution than with this beautiful building that will soon sit right where we're sitting now. It will be a building that is not only beautiful, but also efficient and functional. It has been carefully designed without a single inch of wasted space, and yet it has room for growth in the future. What is more, it will be located in one of the most beautiful cities in the United States, and it will be located in one of the most vibrant, best planned downtown areas in the United States as well. And I'm going to keep within 3 minutes. My only regret is that the one day that I served on the 4th District Court of Appeal was not in this building. There are so many people who played a significant role in this day, and I'm going to mention just a few because I want to shovel. But let's begin with Judge Gerber. Judge Gerber, if there's some guy who wrote a book called The Art of the Deal, I forgot his name, but if ever there was a chapter in that book, it should be dedicated to John Gerber. John Gerber came to us at the Supreme Court and said there's this opportunity. We have a building that is a pretty ugly building, but we have a lot of land in an area of West Palm Beach that is rapidly developing and has gone up in price. We can get money for this, and at the same time, there is some land in downtown West Palm Beach conveniently located near the train stations. I've been told by Dennis Grady to look east for train, not west. I don't know what that means. But it was really the perfect storm. Everything, all the pieces were there, all the planets and stars were perfectly aligned for this to happen. And it would have been a shame if it didn't happen. It would not have happened if Judge Gerber had not really put on a full court press to make it work. So let's give him. And of course, Senator Joe Negron, who is our champion at the legislature. Without Senator Negron, this plan, this project, probably would not have been funded, at least not for the next few years. And if I learned one thing about Tallahassee and the legislature, is that each leader in the legislature has their priorities as to what should be funded and not funded. And Senator Negron made this a priority of his administration and his leadership in the legislature. So let's give Senator Negron a round of applause. I want to thank the mayors of the city of West Palm Beach and Palm Beach County for their support in making this work. You know, they have their projects, they have their ideas as to what downtown West Palm should look like. They work with us, we work with them, and it worked. And we're going to have a beautiful building in downtown West Palm Beach, thanks to them as well. Let's give them a round of applause. And last, and I'm going to say this in general, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say it. We need to thank the Florida legislature for funding us. And it is a time where, you know, we're pinching pennies. And it's a time for where we look at every project very carefully. And they funded this. It's going to go up. And thanks to the legislature, we're going to have a brand new courthouse. Let's give the legislature And I also want to thank Governor Rick Scott for not vetoing the bill. And his support for this building as well. And lastly, you know, I grew up here in West Palm Beach. I went to high school and middle school, elementary school, a little further west. But this is my hometown. And I've seen this place grow from a sleepy, you know, town to, we have maybe 2 movie theaters. The Carefree was one of them, and I forgot what the other one was. And now it's a vibrant, beautiful big city. And I practiced law here my entire career as a lawyer, and I was a circuit judge here, and I was a member of the DCA here one day. I hope my youngest daughter is now in law school at the University of Florida, of course, where else. And she just finished her first year, and I'm hoping that one day she will get to argue a case in this building. So I hope that all of you will enjoy this building. And we worked for it, we earned it, we got it, and it's going to be gorgeous. Thank you for having me.
You asked for it, you got it. On behalf of the 4th District Court of Appeal judges, we are pleased and honored to present to Chief Justice LaVarga on behalf of the Supreme Court of Florida and the Office of the State Courts Administrator this token of appreciation for your support of this project. Thank you. After securing the Supreme Court's approval, we next needed funding. We were fortunate to win the support of both the governor's office and the state legislature. The governor could not be with us today, but did ask to convey his regrets for not being here and also his congratulations on the project. We also would not have been able to achieve the legislature's approval without the unanimous and bipartisan support of our local delegation. So we are pleased to thank our delegation members, many of whom are here today. Please stand when I call your name. Senator Jeff Clements, Senator Maria Sachs, Senator Joe Abruzzo, State Representatives Mark Pafford, State Representative Bobby Powell. Oh, there it is. State Representative Lori Berman, State Representative Kevin Rader, Bill Hager, Marilyn Magar, and especially in the House side, to Representatives Pat Rooney, Dave Kerner, and Irv Schlossberg. We fought for this project for 3 years on the House side. We appreciate it, and I think Irv still has those photos of the mold from the courthouse. But every project needs a leader and a champion. We were very fortunate to have a great champion whose leadership ultimately secured the funding for this project over a 3-year period. Our next keynote speaker, State Senator and now Senate President-designate, Joe Negron.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's great to see such a tremendous turnout. This is a great day for West Palm Beach, and this event is very personal to me. I was born here. I was born at Good Samaritan Hospital, just a few miles down the road at Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, and I still remember coming downtown to get my eyeglasses when I was a kid, and this whole area feels like home to me. And this was a project that I thought would add so much to our community. Just a couple quick little inside baseball on how this started. I don't remember the exact year, frankly. I was fortunate enough to have just been appointed to chair the Appropriations Committee in the Senate, and I met with Judge Gerber to talk generally about the concept of this. And I remember saying, we talked for a while, but I said, here are 2 things that I would really like for you to be able to do that will help this vision come true, at least in the legislative arena. I said, number 1 is I'm a fan of courthouses being downtown. I believe in urban centers, and I think important things should happen in important parts of the community, and that's in downtown West Palm Beach. I had no idea how to actually make that happen, but that was my vision, that we would get it here. And the second thing is, I said the building, when you design the building, it needs to look important, but not ostentatious. And so those were the 2 guiding principles that I hope that Judge Gerber would be able to accomplish. And it's easy to say those, it's not so hard to then deliver. And I want to just start by thanking Judge Gerber for, number 1, figuring out a place in West Palm Beach to put it that couldn't have been more optimal. I mean, this is the perfect place for an important courthouse to go. And then secondly, to work with your entire team of professionals and the architectural crew to design a building that tells the public that important things are happening here. This is a community building. It's a sacred space, in my opinion. but at the same time, something that isn't over the top and isn't ostentatious, and I think you accomplished that. So thank you very much for making my vision of what this courthouse would look like come true, and making our job in the legislature in promoting the project easy to do. So thank you, Judge Gerber. We really appreciate it. And nothing happens in the legislature single-handedly. This is a team sport, and I want to thank my colleagues that are here today that all work together to make this a Palm Beach County project. And as Judge Gerber mentioned, from both political parties, from different parts of Palm Beach County. I represent the northern part of Palm Beach County and have the Treasure Coast. We all worked together to monitor this project to make sure that it was done. It took 3 years of funding, as it was intended to not be all funded at once. And so I want to thank Senator Clemens, my colleague, for your help. Irv Schlossberg is traveling incognito as usual with the orange hat. In case anybody hasn't, this is Irv Schlossberg. He has a slogan, "Let Irv serve." Very subdued personality, Representative Schlossberg. You wouldn't know he was here. And then Representative Kerner and, of course, Representative Rooney, thank you very much for all of your work. You guys did a great job. We all worked together. And then, even though he's in a different role now with the South Florida Water Management District, Pete Antonacci was the General Counsel to the Governor. That's a very important position, a key position, and frankly a place where something can get derailed very easily. And I just want to thank Pete personally, because from the moment that I talked to you about this project and we discussed the parameters and how we were going to try to get it done, you were 100% supportive and advocated for it persuasively with the Governor. And so I want to thank you personally for getting that done. The final thing that I want to mention is it's important, and it was alluded to a little earlier. There are every society, every group of individuals that organize throughout history have their guiding principles, and ours may or may not be better than anyone else's, but they're ours. And one of our guiding principles is that we have an independent, co-equal branch of government called the judicial branch. And the judicial branch is here to peacefully resolve civil disputes, to determine whether a person is guilty or not, and to punish them if they are, and exonerate them if they're not. And I believe very strongly that times change. I know we're all into computers and phones now, but you know what? There needs to be a place in a civilized society where people can go to have their case heard and to be heard fairly, whether you're rich or poor, whether you're in favor with society at this time, whether you're not in favor, whether you're big, whether you're small. Society cannot function fairly and equitably under our Western system of justice without having a place like the District Court of Appeal to, when judges make the decisions and they do the best they can, they don't always get it right because we're all flawed and imperfect. And I'm going to defend until my time of public service is done the essential importance of a well-funded, co-equal, independent branch of government. Now, they should also not try to legislate, and we shouldn't try to adjudicate. So it goes both ways. And there have been offenses on both sides where penalty flags need to be thrown. I'll do my part to keep us in the legislation business, and the courts can do the adjudicating. But I've heard some views sometimes that maybe courts are, a little, it's grown anachronistic. In a modern society, maybe we'll just get a group of smart people together and let them decide. No, there needs to be a place where you can tell the government, no, I don't agree with that, and I want to fight that principle. We're going to get 6 people in the community, and we're going to decide whether this is lawful or not. And that doesn't go out of style, and technology doesn't change that. And this courthouse will be here for generations to be a place where there's justice under the law for everybody. So thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Shovel number 2. It is, again, our honor on behalf of the 4th District Court of Appeal to present to Senator Joe Negron, on behalf of the entire legislative delegation, this token of appreciation for your support for this project. It was important during the last 3 legislative sessions to be able to express to legislators who were not from Palm Beach County that we had the unanimous support of Palm Beach County. So we are very pleased to thank today the county's staff, constitutional officers, and commissioners for their support. First, if I could introduce the county staff here with us today. County Administrator Virginia Baker. Deputy Court Administrator John Van Arnhem. County Attorney Denise Neiman. Development Director Audrey Wolf. And Assistant County Administrator Todd Von Laren. We particularly wanted to recognize Todd Von Laren, who, along with his lobbying staff of Rachel Andrus, Joseph Petty, and Chris Pettit, fought for this project day and night for 3 legislative sessions. If the 4 of you could please stand, be recognized. We'd also like to thank the county's public affairs staff who coordinated this event here today. Lisa Della Rionda, John Jameson, Craig Stevens, and their staff, Miko Harrison, Gloria Taylor. Thank you all very much. We'd also like to thank Palm Beach County's constitutional officers for providing us with valuable information and support for our cause. Tax Collector Ann Gannon, State Attorney Dave Ehrenberg, and Public Defender Carrie Howitt. And above all, we wanted to thank our County Commission, whose unanimous support provided the resources with their staff and lobbying teams to fight for this project. Vice Mayor Hal Valashe, Commissioners Steve Abrams, Paulette Burdick, Shelley Vanna, Melissa McKinley, Priscilla Taylor, and our next keynote speaker, the Mayor of Palm Beach County, Mary Lou Berger.
Okay, we'll just put them together here. Good morning, everyone. I think Judge Sicklin mentioned that there are several things that you can say, and I will say that I am proud to be here representing the county this morning. As an aside, I moved here in 1989. We did not have the new courthouse. The county building was fairly new, and the downtown needed a lot of work. And I used to take the Cotran, now Pomtran 4S bus to work every day. And I was on Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, and I looked at everything. I saw the leaky teepee. I had gone to a baseball game at the stadium. But I asked what this little building was on the other side of Palm Beach Lakes. And somebody on the bus said to me, well, that's one of the courthouses. And I looked at it. I'm from Pittsburgh. And I said, that's a courthouse? Then I met 2 lovely twins, Jody and Jeannie Beal. Jody Beal worked in the clerk's office with me, and Jeannie Beal worked in that courthouse, Court of Appeals. And it was then that I began to find out, and that was a very long time ago, that there really needed to be some updating, some changes in a new building. So here we are all these years later, and I have watched this, and watched it as an aide to County Commissioner Bert Aronson, watched it as a county commissioner, and finally, we're standing here today. So it's been a long time coming. And facilities of this importance do not happen without a strong leader moving it forward and willing partners to emphasize the importance. The 4th DCA found that strong leader in Judge Jonathan Gerber, who made his mission over the last 4 years, and who made it his mission, and he endured many trips to Tallahassee as a frequenter of committee meetings and legislative sessions. He has been to every Palm Beach County Day we've had for years. And Judge Gerber, we hope that you continue to travel with us to Tallahassee for future Palm Beach County days. I also want to thank my fellow commissioners for supporting the project and allowing the legislative team, and Todd, you and your staff have already been pointed out, and you've done a tremendous job as the liaison between the city, the county, and Tallahassee. So we thank you, and I want to thank you and your team again. And of course, our Senator Negron, Representative Rooney, Representative Kerner, Representative Schlossberg, Representative Berman have also been pointed out, but they are my friends. I work with them on a daily basis to get things done, and I also want to give a thank you to them personally. I also want to thank our County Facilities Director. No one has mentioned her. Is Audrey here today? Audrey Wolf, if you know her, she is a dynamic woman who knows everything and anything about Palm Beach County and every single building that we have in the county. And she and her staff worked through difficult logistics with the state and the city of West Palm Beach to keep the construction of the courthouse moving forward. And without them, we could have had delay after delay after delay. So I want to also publicly thank them. We've been very successful at the local, state, and federal level because of the partnerships we have created. We hope they continue to endure to ensure that as our county continues to grow, they do so with the strong community support that has made this groundbreaking today possible. Do I get my shovel? Thank you.
On behalf of the judges of the 4th District Court of Appeal, it is our honor and privilege to present to Mayor Mary Lou Berger on behalf of the entire Palm Beach County staff and commissioners and constitutional officers this token of appreciation for the county's support of this project. Thank you so much. Once we had this project approved, we needed a home. And we found that home here in the city of West Palm Beach, and specifically this beautiful downtown West Palm Beach. We first would like to thank the city staff who's here today, City Administrator Jeff Green, City Attorney Kim Rothenberg, Economic Development Director Chris Rue, who cannot be here today, Building Director Rick Green, Planning Director Anna Maria Ponte, I think I saw Anna Maria, Community Redevelopment Agency Director John Ward, saw John, Art and Public Places Director Sibile Walter, and Head Building Official Robert Brown. And next, we would like to thank the members of the Downtown Action Committee who approved this project, Roger Jansen, Tim Harris, Barry O'Brien. I think we're coming today. If they can stand, if they're here. Okay. We would also like to thank the Downtown Development Authority, its Director Rafael Clemente, and its board members for welcoming us to the neighborhood. And we'd also like to recognize our new next-door neighbor, the Director of the Department of Health, Dr. Alina Alonso. Above all, we would like to thank from the City Commission of West Palm Beach. Commissioners Keith James, Shannon Materio, Paul Ryan, Commissioners Corey Nearing and Sylvia Moffitt, who could not be with us here today. And of course, we'd like to thank our next speaker. When Neil Marin and I went to the mayor's office 3 years ago to tell her about this project, she has lined up along her wall a bunch of shovels like these, and she said, "I'll approve it if I get one of those shovels." So the next keynote speaker, the City of West Palm Beach Mayor, Jerry Moya.
And I promise to keep it to 3 minutes or less. Well, I'm going to use one of those words that Chief Justice Sigmund mentioned, and that's the word honored. I don't think I've ever been in a place with so many judges and attorneys and elected officials and people who give every day to our community. So thank you for all being here, and thank you for the work that you do every day on behalf of our community. It's so important. Throughout this process, I learned a few things. One of them is that it's not the Court of Appeals, it's the Court of Appeal. So I'm going to try and make sure that I remember to say that. I also learned that the the District Court of Appeals has some of the same challenges with Tallahassee that those of us who run cities have and counties. So I don't feel so alone anymore. I also learned that Judge Gerber is a man who gets the job done. He has been an amazing person. He's worked so hard. He's been so dedicated to this. And congratulations again to you. I know a lot of people have said it, but congratulations. I also want to thank my staff who worked so hard to get this to fruition. I want to thank our planning department. I want to thank our attorneys. I want to thank the CRA. The CRA has contributed funds to help get this built, as has our parking department. And I think without us chipping in a little bit, it wouldn't be such a really cool project that it is. And Senator Negron, I want to thank you because I love the two parameters that you set. First, that it be in West Palm Beach. Thank you very much. Second, that it look like a courthouse. And I love that this looks like a courthouse. People will know when they walk in that they're walking into a courthouse and how important that is. And so I want to really, again, celebrate the fact that this building is going to be here in our downtown. The people who are catering our breakfast are located right in the downtown of West Palm Beach on South Dixie. Ganache, they do amazing food and great work. And the fact that there will be 70 to 80 people here every day working in this building who will then come to our downtown and enjoy all of the wonderful things that we have to offer in our downtown. Not to mention the number of people who will be employed by, through the construction of this great building. I'm so happy to see that we have Weiss Construction and we have Urban Design Kilday, and we have local people have been involved in the design and construction of this. So thank you for making sure that we focus on local employment. So I'm waiting for my shovel. I'm done. And thank you all again for being here. Thank you.
Mayor, again, on behalf of the judges of the 4th District Court of Appeal, we'd like to present this token of appreciation to you on behalf of the City of West Palm Beach for its support. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The judicial branch has always been very fortunate to have a strong partnership and bond with the attorneys of the Florida Bar. We would like to thank the dozens of appellate practice section attorneys who are here today for their support of this project and their input into the design of the courthouse. We'd also like to thank the attorneys who serve on and contribute to the 4th District Court of Appeals Historical Society for sponsoring the tent over our heads, keeping us in the shade, and the seats on which we sit here today. If all of our appellate practice attorneys could stand and be recognized as a group. We especially would like to thank those members of the Florida Bar who went above and beyond the call of duty to advocate for this project with the legislative leadership. Fred Cunningham, Chris Searcy, and Howard Weiss. And above all, we wanted to thank our immediate past president of the Florida Bar, who during his term as president of the Florida Bar, put the full weight of the bar's resources into this project and directed the bar's lobbying team to make our project one of their priorities. Our next keynote speaker, Greg Coleman.
Thank you, Judge Gerber, for the kind words. And I got to tell you, I'm a little nervous right now because they gave the Chief Justice a shovel. And, you know, I am a past bar president, Chief, not current bar president. So, may it please the court, honored guests, friends, and supporters. It's my absolute honor and privilege to be here today in my capacity as the immediate past president of the Florida Bar. Make no mistake about it, this was not an easy task to accomplish. It seems easy today, here, while we're standing here celebrating it, but this was no easy task. And the fact that so many groups, and you've heard it from every speaker, came together from both West Palm Beach, the county, the legislature, the executive branch, the courts, the bar, to get us to this point today is nothing short of amazing. Two people, though, and you hear it over and over again, were instrumental. And one of them was and is my college classmate and good friend, Joe Negron, who I spent a lot of time in Tallahassee speaking to all kinds of different legislators about judicial funding, because my priority as president of the Florida Bar was to improve funding for our co-equal independent branch of government. To some degree, I feel I fell short, but as it relates to this project, I'm very, very proud of what we accomplished. And when I went in to see Senator Negron as chair of appropriations, he smiled at me and said, "Greg, we don't have a whole lot to talk about. I know what you want, and I'm behind you." So thank you, Joe. You were amazing. And of course, the House side, Richard Corcoran was his contemporary, and Representative Corcoran is a strong personality, and I spent a lot of time with him. I met with him 6 times, and Judge Gerber and I met with him a number of times, just the two of us. And it took a lot of work to navigate this through the House, but the House members that are here on both sides of the aisle really came to our rescue and helped us behind the scenes. So I would also like, although he's not here, I'd like to recognize and thank Richard Corcoran for his support in this project as well. So 2 last things so I can keep under my 3 minutes. One, you know, I spent a lot of time in Tallahassee. I was up there more than I was here. And I saw Judge Gerber, who's been a dear friend. We tried cases against each other. I practiced in front of him when he was a circuit court judge. He and his wife Tracy have been friends of mine for years. Every time I was in Tallahassee, there was Judge Gerber. I'm like, are you on the 1st District Court of Appeal now? You know? And, you know, there's a room at the Duval. It's the Gerber room. And I just, you keep hearing it over and over and over again. And maybe we, you know, I just can't thank you enough, because you drove this. And I know the court was very supportive behind him and doing a lot of work as well. But Judge Gerber, once again, thank you so much. I mean, thank you. So Chief Judge Sicklin mentioned that they're going to put a time capsule in, and so I knew that was going to happen. And so I have a little surprise for you today for the time capsule, Chief. And this is a secret. Not a whole lot of people outside of the 4th DCA know this secret. But if you walk into the courthouse, the portraits of the judges are in proportion to their length of service. So if you walk in, you see Judge Warner's portrait is very large because she was been there for a long time. And some of the others, you know, they gradually get small. So who is the shortest serving justice on the 4th DCA? Chief Justice Labarga, of course. So I was able to bring his portrait here in my pocket. And I would like to add this to the time capsule. This is his portrait. So, Chief, this is for the time capsule, where it will be found 100 years from now, and they'll say, why is this portrait so small? Thank you all for being here, and thank you for your indulgence.
Greg, on behalf of the judges of the 4th District Court of Appeal, we'd like to present this to you on behalf of the 100,000 members of the Florida Bar. Thank you for your support of this project. Our final set of thank yous this morning goes to a number of groups in the private sector who advocated for this project because it would continue the economic resurgence of downtown West Palm Beach, and specifically the Tamarind Avenue and Tri-Rail corridor. We'd like to thank the Economic Council of Palm Beach County, the Business Development Board of Palm Beach County, represented today by Kelly Smallridge, and the Chamber of Commerce of the Palm Beaches and its Executive committee members, Don Kizaleski. Where's Don? Joe Chase, Sarah Alsoprom, and Christine Hanley. We also wanted to thank the chamber staff who assisted in coordinating this project today, Deb Willard, Kelly Finelli, and Sandy Pullins. And they also assisted in obtaining the ceremonial shovels that we've been handing out today. And so it's only fitting that our last keynote speaker be the person who not only advocated for this project locally, but also said, well, if you're going to have a groundbreaking, you need some shovels. So the president and CEO of the Chamber of Commerce of the Palm Beaches, Dennis Grading.
Thank you, Judge Gerber. You quarterbacked the team. It was a pleasure to work with you. This project means a lot, not only to the chamber and the city and the county and the legal community, but this is a great moment in history. Historically, across America, courthouses have played an important role in our communities. West Palm Beach and Palm Beach County are no exception. Our historic courthouse, which now serves as our historic museum, not only housed the function of our legal community, but also provided life-saving shelter to hundreds of residents of Palm Beach County during the 1928 hurricane. Our current judicial center, state's attorney, and public defender offices combined with the West Palm Beach City Hall in forming the true core of our city. And just a short walk from where we are right now, our federal courthouse is located. But most importantly, what begins today will complete the picture. The 4th District Court of Appeal will be the missing piece of the puzzle, finally returning to downtown West Palm Beach. We owe a great deal of debt for much of our development in West Palm Beach to Henry Flagler. If Mr. Flagler were here today, I feel he would applaud our foresight in creating a center for judicial service in downtown West Palm Beach. Then there'd be a twinkle in his eye, and he would commend our wisdom in putting the final piece so close to a station on his FEC rail line that will soon provide high-speed transportation between Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and West Palm Beach. A service that will serve not only those who work in the courthouse, but the many users who come to it on a daily basis. Now, most importantly, as we rapidly approach a 1:15, Judge Gerber will come back up and he will show you how the business end of the shovels behind me work. Judge Gerber.
Stay up here. Dennis, on behalf of the 4th District Court of Appeal, we wish to present to you on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce and all of the public sector, private sector folks who came to help us on this project, this token of appreciation. We return it back to you. Thank you. You see there's one shovel left. If I could call our Chief Judge. And also past Chief Judge Dorian Morgent. These are our past 2 Chief Judges who have headed up this project, but on behalf of the 2 of them, we would always tell you on behalf of our colleagues, everything that we do at the court is a team effort, and that was the purpose of today's event. It's not just to show the team effort on behalf of the unanimous judges of our court, but the team effort on behalf of all of your part. We could not be standing here today with all of you, and we hope that you have been glad to be here today to help us share this very historic ceremony. So the last shovel goes for history in the time capsule to our Chief Judges, Corey Sicklen and Dorian Morgent. That concludes the formal part of our ceremony, but the most important part if you're going to have a groundbreaking is to break the ground. So we're going to be doing that behind us. I was told by the public affairs staff that the best way to do this is because everyone else who's not doing the digging would just be sitting there on their hands watching us take pictures. So feel free, if you'd like, to mix and mingle. We still got some great refreshments in the back before you leave. But for those of the people who are on the court, the legislative delegation, the county commission, the city commission, and also our construction team, please come forward and we'll take the pictures. Everyone else, thank you so much for everything today. Appreciate it.